And then you can come sit at the table, sit on the wall. Peter, you want to sit here? You can sit, Peter.
I appreciate the invitation.
Sitting there, I said Dan, because I was thinking about Dan Amakuchi.
Uh-oh.
Not you, we know.
Please don't
I
get
thanked
that.
him yesterday. No. All righty. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is June 13th, 2024. The time is currently 10:11 a.m. and I'm calling the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency board meeting to order. Darren?
Great, yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. First item on the agenda is a roll call vote. Here, Chairman, Patterson Howard,
Here.
member, Brian Johnson. Here. Member Stephanie Vanderpool.
Here.
All others,
Adrian Saunders, Mount Vernon City School.
sorry, I didn't know your name, Ms. Saunders.
That's
Also here on behalf of the school district and, Dr. Morton is, absent today.
Yes. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum, yes. Next matter on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of May 13th, 2024.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for May 13th, 2024.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Our next matter on the agenda is a financial report. Since Dr. Morton isn't here, either Executive Director Mack or Julie Marshall can provide a quick update. Whoever is more keen to it.
Julie, would you?
Julie, would you mind?
Julie?
Sure, I can do that. Let me just grab this in front of me. So
I
we
can't-
have,
That's why we went to law school.
okay, so the first item that you have is a financial statement for the first quarter and for the month ending May 31st, 2024. Total income for the month was simply interest income of $490. Expenses were let me put my glasses on, $868,223. The vast majority of that was simply the pilots received were then dispersed to the various taxing jurisdictions. So there was a net loss of $868,223. As far as the balance sheet goes, you can see that there's $3.2 million as of May 31st in total assets, countered by 1.4, almost 1.5 million in liabilities, giving a negative cash from operations on the cash flow of 868,000. This is, other than the pilots received and then remitted, this is pretty consistent with prior financial reports. The next item is the pilot payments. We have a few projects that still owe their first quarter pilot payments, and now that we're coming upon July, we're starting to receive those that make a remittance in July. So we're aggressively going after, I say we, Raj and I, together with folks here at Harris Beach, aggressively going after the folks that have been delinquent in their pilot payments. So this just gives you a summary. I won't go through all the details. And honestly, it's really small print to try to read it.
It is very different.
The other item that you received as part of the financial report is the status of the administrative fees. And you can see the amount owed for 2024 and those that have been received. And I do know that Raj in the finance area is again going after these folks to get those administrative fees in for the year, because certainly that helps to offset some of the agency's costs of operation.
Thank you very much, Julie.
Sure.
Questions? Okay. Next matter on the agenda is the business development report.
Good morning, everyone. I am Robin Mack, Director of Business Development for the City of Mount Vernon, reporting out on the Mount Vernon First Small Business Grant. We have, as you all know, the close date is fast approaching. That would be June 24th. To date, we have 10 grant applications submitted and completed. What I plan to do is with those that are received by June 24, to proceed with reviewing and processing along with the team that I have brought together to perform that function. And once those grants are awarded, to open up the grants again to exhaust the money that has been given to us from the ARPA funds.
Is there a way that we can, maybe even get some of our Youth Bureau students to just drop off the flyers at the store or send another email blast out? Just want to make sure in the first round that we are making a second effort or third or fourth effort to get the information out to eligible businesses.
Right. So we blast out in your newsletter weekly. I blast out 2 times a week. And then we haven't done the ground game, which if there are any Youth Bureau people who can do that, then I will collaborate with them to do the ground game. I will also do the ground game to increase the numbers by June 24. I still don't think that there will be a significant amount of applications in that roughly 10-day time period to come in. So opening it up again, I think will be necessary so that we can exhaust all those funds. We have a small number of businesses along the downtown area that have responded. We've gotten some businesses who are looking to move into the downtown area, take their home-based business and bring it into the downtown area who have applied. But the greater number of applicants are those who have a physical footprint right now along Bramerton, 4th Avenue, Fisk, Sydney, and I think there's even one on 3rd Street. So, but I think we will need to address those who have come in and then open it up again. So.
And if we could ask the chamber to shoot it out, reach out.
Chamber.
Have they shot it out already?
Well, I will speak because I've been meeting with the chamber and the Downtown Business Association, Downtown Merchants Association. So they each have it. They've blasted it out. I addressed the chamber directly last week. Today was the Downtown Merchants Association meeting that they canceled this morning. So again, as I continue to blast it, I will also ask them to blast and add in that ground game or that ground distribution and continue to, well, one more time, it'll go out in your weekly newsletter. And I believe social media, they also send it out. The comms team also sends it out via social media. And yeah, so I, the only thing that I have not done was the ground game. That was the only piece of it. And in terms of building a relationship with those business associations, the Chamber and the Downtown Merchant Association, we are meeting monthly. We had our first meeting in the end of May. We did not meet again in June. It was too close. There wasn't much to report. We will be meeting again July 9th. The conversation is education around establishing a business improvement district and also having the 2 organizations collaborate with their efforts so that, we expand the bandwidth of the 2 organizations that really have the same mission and goals, as well as outreach for businesses along Mount Vernon Avenue and Sanford Boulevard and any of those other commercial corridors, which includes 3rd Street and Columbus Avenue and
First Street.
All the commercial. So we're and Prospect. So trying to, expand the bandwidth of the merchant or business associations. And Oh, we have a ribbon cutting today at 1 o'clock at the Atlantis Fresh Market on Bremerton Avenue, 422 Bremerton Avenue at 1 o'clock. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have a question about it said the downtown business, so there's a grant to help, people, with their businesses. Now, what type of businesses should not come? I mean, are we asking all businesses, any type of business? How does that work?
So the purpose of the,
Competitive businesses, because you have a hair salons next door to each other, Chinese restaurants next to each other. Should it not be competitive to the person next door? How does that work?
All of them are eligible to apply. So anyone who has a storefront who needs to do facade work, inside work, catch up if they were impacted by COVID.
So it's not
So-
for new businesses, it's for existing businesses.
It's for,
so the grant has three purposes. The primary purpose is to improve the aesthetic of those existing businesses. The secondary is to attract new businesses, those that are not in competition with what's already there. We have, and we've talked about this extensively, not just in the IDA, but also at the city council meetings, that based on the comprehensive plan, the first phase of it, which addressed commercial, economic development, businesses, that there are certain business types that we are looking to attract into the city. Those include, for example, but not in totality, something that is that doesn't already exist, such as an axe throwing business, which is really popular right now. Something like a bookstore, which we currently do not have in the city of Mount Vernon. Those are just examples. And there are examples that came directly from the comprehensive plan phase 1. So we're going based on the input that was provided in the comprehensive plan. Now, if there is an existing, let's say, hair salon that applied for the grant and they are looking to improve their facade, if they've met all the requirements, then they will more than likely receive the grant. If there is someone who does not already have a footprint and they are a hair salon, more than likely they will not receive the funding for the grant for the reason that you've noted, which is competitor, right? And though that type of business we have an abundance of them. So we're not looking to do much more of that. We are also working with the city council to establish some sort of proximity clause to add into zoning that would prevent any more of the same type of businesses, but then to establish a feet distance between an existing business type and another coming in. So I hope I answered your question. It was very long and comprehensive.
So in short, it's to attract new businesses that we don't currently have, businesses of that type. Secondly, it is to support existing businesses who can do upgrades in their facade, their aesthetic, and help stabilize them as they've been impacted, by COVID and the rebound. And the third piece is to work with especially those entrepreneurs who might have a home-based or little suite-based business, but they're looking for a storefront business to be able to come into business, but not those who are very already duplicative
Correct.
of what we might already have 20 million of. So it has 3 areas of focus. We've been discussing this here, and like you said, at city council meetings, there's a full flyer. We will give you another one so you could have it. But those are the 3 areas, the 3 primary things that we're looking to do.
So as regarding the comprehensive plan, who is working on the comprehensive plan? Is it some people from the community, or is it just the city council?
The comprehensive plan has been something we've been working on for over 1.5 years, and we've adopted the downtown vision plan.
Who's in the community?
There are over 30 community residents who are on it, who applied and asked to be on it. We've had over 22 public meetings in the community that have been widely advertised, and hundreds of people have participated. It's been presented to the city council and adopted. And all of this has been happening very, very widely in the community. We are now on phase 2 of the comprehensive plan. I think we've had about 3 or 4 meetings as part of phase 2. The next phase 2 meeting for the comprehensive plan is on the 20th of June. I believe from like 6 to 8 or 6:30 to 8:30. And these meetings have been held in every area of the city, from the Heights to, Kingsbridge Gardens, to Fleetwood, to the Dole Center, all over the cities, Hunts Woods, the synagogue. So we've been in, all over the city. They've been widely advertised. Neighborhood associations, churches, organizations have partnered with us to do it. The planning department and our consultants are leading the effort, as that is their job and their role. And, if the school district is interested in maybe hosting a meeting at one of their locations, we're also looking to do a meeting specifically targeted to reach out to youth. So if the school district has some type of interest, because the second phase of the comprehensive plan is about neighborhood preservation. It's more about the residential areas. The downtown vision was more for retail, industry, commercial, industrial. But the phase 2 is more about how we continue to maintain and or grow our neighborhoods. Okay,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great, move on, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
So next matter are the resolutions for consideration by the board. The first resolution is Resolution 6/2024-1. It's authorizing the payment of invoices. There's a proposed resolution in your packet. For the record, there's 3 invoices to pay. First is to the city of Mount Vernon related to water supply in the approximate amount of $1,445 and change. Second invoice is to Harris Beach, the law firm agency counsel, in the amount of $3,775 and change. And the final invoice is to RBT CPAs, who conducted the 2023 audit for the IDA in the amount of approximately $20,215 and change. Is there a motion for consideration of these invoices?
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 6/2024-1.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Thank you. The next resolution is Resolution 6/2024-2, consideration of a lease agreement with National Gear and Piston Incorporated. The tenant, National Gear and Piston is a current tenant of the Mount Vernon IDA. This has been on a few times, Madam Chair and members of the board, for consideration. That's been tabled, and there's been some discussion with some people off the record, as well as with the applicant, the tenant's attorney. The tenant is here today, wanted to present briefly to the board for consideration. I'd recommend that you listen to the tenant, and then potentially we can go to executive session to discuss the lease. That's okay.
I don't have a resolution.
No, it's the previous resolution, but I think we should discuss it.
No, of course.
Sir, if that's okay, Madam Chair, for the, introduce yourself for the record, so we.
Thank you. I'm Pete Luongo, principal of National Gear and Piston, 225 Fourth Avenue here in Mount Vernon. First of all, thank you all for allowing me to address the board. I do so completely respectfully. I just want to talk, I know briefly, about a few things, where we are, or where we were, where we are, and just offer a quick vision. As you all know, we were working on a long-term lease that would have allowed my company to bring in investment and reinvigorate the building, the neighborhood, the whole infrastructure of that portion of South Fourth Avenue. And we did so with the idea of a long-term lease that would have a graduated rent structure and then a graduated tax increase payments, which would incentivize us to purchase the building, taking it off of the pilot program, which, by the way, we've never been delinquent and we're totally up to date on. But I heard the earlier mention. But this would have graduated as we gained control of the building. It would have graduated the payments upward on both the rental structure and a tax standpoint, which means that I could have invested in the building. So that's where kind of we were. And I understand that a developer came in and offered a different plan and you are obligated to look at it. I totally get that. What I came back and said, and where we are, what I came back and said was, okay, it's going to take you 2 years to vet that whole situation between creating the money, creating the proposals, creating the permits, and it just takes, it's 17 years to date that I've worked in this arrangement. So it's got to be 2 years. I said, can you codify our relationship so that I can then, again, try to induce investors to come in and that when I put money into the building, that I'm not just totally lighting it on fire. For instance, right now, when I repair the roof, when I repair the lights, when I repair the plumbing, I'm just taking that money and there's no stability to it. It's just going completely to patching as best I possibly can to do business. And again, we totally try to be good corporate citizens. We employ people from Mount Vernon. We work as a vendor to the fire department, to the DPW, to the water department. We obviously work at different causes within the town, the soup kitchen and the Mount Vernon Educational Foundation. So we try to be totally good citizens. When we got the proposal back on the short-term lease, for instance, it completely doubled the rent by phasing in the taxes all at once. And that completely changes the economics of the structure of everything. You've doubled everything. So right now I'm paying current on a current basis, taxes, payments in lieu of taxes, and I'm able to patch the building. But if you're going to double that, it's going to completely change the structure of everything that we're working on. So what I asked for was a short-term lease, 2 years, while you take a time to vet out 26, 24 months, so that I have some stability, so that I have some codification to what our relationship is, which we've always had a positive and strong relationship. And then if I could, I would just like to take a minute and offer a vision, as I've done so often. My business is standing and it's currently, we're doing pretty well. We've invested in diesel particulate filter cleaning, which is a clean air environment. We're working at other initiatives, trying to attract electric vehicle manufacturers, which had I had the opportunity for the long-term lease, I had companies that were interested in, they need Mount Vernon or they need Westchester, which Mount Vernon would be perfect as another hub just outside of New York City. It's within the confines of Westchester. So I had this ability to go out and to attract other companies, bigger, stronger, that would invigorate the building, that would invigorate the business. And it wouldn't change the structure of what we do at all. And we are very low in terms of the amount of stress we put on the systems. We don't have any school, we don't use the schools. We just are a complete, tax positive.
Mhm.
We're not taking police or fire or any other infrastructure situations. So I thought that we are a solid person to invest in, which is why I asked for the long-term lease. And even on a short-term basis, I ask you, to not increase it to a level that it just changes the economics and just stifles the whole operation. And that's what doubling the rent would have done. It was just stifle the whole operation. So I'm, again, speaking respectfully, and I'm totally here if you have any questions or any concerns, anything that I could address.
That's available.
In regards to the short-term lease, I don't remember reviewing that, the increase you said. You have that,
There were some discussions, we had a draft of the lease here last meeting. There were discussions with counsel for the tenant about that I had. But it's not specifically written into the lease yet. If the consideration.
I believe it was rent and them assuming taxes, which is what he's saying
Correct.
is basically doubling what they're paying now, which makes it,
Owner,
you know,
do daily,
you can't have it, it's almost
And-
like you're asking for it both ways, for me to maintain the building and for me to maintain the economics of it. And it just doesn't pan out.
I mean, I've had meetings with Mr. Luongo concerning this. He's been a long-term tenant of the city of Mount Vernon. It's been a long-term arrangement. He also spoke to me about what he would like to do in the long range. Like, he said, we have another project before us, but he also has some business partners who are very interested in coming and redoing that area, going into probably a long-term lease, just like the other project, creating, continuing to have National Gears and Pistons, but then also potentially creating a whole retail showroom.
Right.
For, larger industrial type equipment and materials.
Not necessarily larger in terms of
Not larger than yours, but like.
more business, generating, being able to generate more business. And they'd have to make it considerable. For instance, I had an investor come in and said, well, our factory wouldn't allow us to have a wooden roof. It's a beautiful structure. The fire department comes in and loves it. It's a beautiful roof, but they'd have to convert it to a metal roof, right? That's a $2 million project. And in order to justify and amortize a $2 million project, you need 20, 30-year lease or ownership of control of the property. So these are the kind of things that I'm facing, but I do want to ask you for consideration in any respect in terms of, in any respect, I'd like to ask you for consideration on the issues that are before us.
So there was a long-term proposal and then there was something short-term. I think at one time it was, there was 24 months, you can ask for 18 months. Like you said, so there could just be some more stability as the determination is the long-term determination to that area is made.
You said it very well. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Madam Chair, is it worthwhile to move to executive session to discuss the lease terms with the board now? Potential lease terms? I think so.
but yeah, and I think, also too, I mean, we did go out, and got, updated, proposals to do an appraisal on the property again, because the last time the IDA did do the appraisal, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Luongo, was in 2022.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a current one, for the market value and then also for the square footage for rental purposes. But we will take all of that into consideration, what you said, to, yes.
Again, it is not a traditional landlord-tenant operation. So I think that that's a very important aspect of the whole consideration. So
What are the numbers you're paying now? I don't mean to interrupt, but are they, do you have them off the top of your head?
it's $5,000.
That's it.
Yeah, well, $60,000 a year. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Are you covering utilities?
Yes.
Okay, so you cover your own.
Right. Exactly. and maintain the property and maintain a presence and a stabilizing factor on the block. In any case, listen, I totally appreciate your time today. Thank you and your consideration. And I'm still available if you have any questions, but
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you.
Assessor Vanderpool, thank you very much, Counselor. It was a pleasure to meet you. Director Mack, thank you again. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd recommend a motion for executive session to discuss the lease and any other issues related to it.
Make a motion to go into executive session for the purposes that you stated.
Is there a second?
To discuss the lease.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. If we could get offline and then come back for the streaming.